professionals on November 15th, annually observed on Wednesday during American Education Week. National Education Support Professionals Day honors the contributions of school support employees. These support professionals provide invaluable services and are essential partners in a child's education. And so we know we have wonderful support staff here at YCS, and so we thank them. Please join us all together on November 15th to thank our education support professionals.
That moves us to 4D, National Parent Involvement Day.
Yes, National Parent Involvement Day is November 16th, and so we want to lift that up. We want everyone to know we want our parents involved. This day provides a yearly opportunity for schools and families to honor and highlight powerful contributions that parents and caregivers provide at school and home to support school success. So not just at NAPIT Day, but all year. And we want to recognize the National Parent Involvement Day on November 16th.
Okay. And that moves us to 4E, Substitute Educators Day.
Thank you. We have seen with teacher shortages, we've seen with the need for our staff to go out, especially now after COVID. We don't take any risks. We ask people to, if they go out, we want, when our staff are out of class, that we have the most qualified substitutes that we can. And so we want to recognize and thank all of those substitutes who are in our building. So Substitute Education Day is November 17th. The United States observes Substitute Education Day, which was instituted by the National Education Association. The purpose of this day is to highlight the role and importance of the substitute teacher by providing information about, advocating for, and helping to increase appreciation and respect for this unique professional. This day also focuses on the need of substitutes, which includes better wages and health benefits and continual professional development. Substitute Educators Day is observed by some the third Friday of November during American Education Week.
Okay. Number 5 on the agenda is presentation. So 5A is Media Center and LEAP grant presentation, and I'll turn that back over to you, Dr. Zachary Ross.
Thank you. The presentations are just a great opportunity for us to have time to invite staff to share some of our special programs. And so at this time, we are really excited to have our Media Center specialist led by our superstar, Geraldine Lynn. She'll come and not only have our amazing media specialists to come talk about what they just experienced, talk about what a difference the circulation has been. You can come on up while I'm talking the difference the circulation has been since they've been in place, and talk about the LEAP grant and how that's also impacted our media center. So thank you for being here, and we're just looking forward to hearing from you, and just can't wait for everyone to see not only your impact here, but impact when you went to the conference as well.
Thank you so much. This is a great, wonderful staff I work with. I appreciate them so much. We have one more, Miss Naeem, that couldn't make it tonight. So we have 6 altogether. Just great. So we're just going to talk a little about the LEAP grant, and we've been able to do professional development. We were able to do our own tech summer institute for staff. We were able to send many staff members to conferences. We've done student excursions, after school tutoring. We didn't because we said such short. Okay. We're able to contribute to the Grizzly Sunrise Club, for the high dosage tutoring. We purchased tech-based programs. We've just purchased a program called All Here, which we got an amendment for. So even though it's not really directly about literacy, but it does attendance and helps with attendance. Because if the kids are not here, they're not getting the literacy part of it. We also have done book giveaways. And so far, we have spent over 214,000 and have given away 16,456 books. For the library, we have spent, it's not 65, it's really 99 for the 2 years, 1,440. We are starting a pilot program with ebooks at the middle school this year. And we've given away 5,069 books. So that's gonna be my part of it. And I want each media specialist to introduce themselves and tell you how the grant has impacted their libraries.
I figured I'd have to go first. Greetings from Ypsilanti High School Media Center. I'm Dwayne Scott, and I'm really privileged to be here because when I first started working for the district, I was just a CI at one time, right? And look where I am now. I'm a media specialist, okay? But I'm just not a specialist. I'm great at what I do, okay? And I'm glad to be here. I'd like to say, I'd like to thank our fearless leader. She's a great lady. She leads us in the right direction. I work with a great team because they knew more about this media center stuff than me. So they really taught me a lot. And so I really appreciate it. So the last 3 conventions that we've been through, they have really been impactful for what I need to do on my level at the high school. At the high school level, it's always hard to get kids to pick up a book. It really is, especially if they don't think they read well or whatever. But once we started this book giveaway, everything just changed and just turned around. Gave away some books. When you have a giveaway, sometimes people just be like, well, it's not impactful because it's just a giveaway. Anybody can get them. So I had to build some type of excitement, put a little paper on the walls and windows, didn't let anybody see in, didn't let teachers come in. And like, what are you doing? You know, I covered the books on the table to build a little bit more excitement, got my popcorn machine going, told them to come in, had a little raffle on the side to win little prizes for the books and things. Kids came in and just took all the books. I think I may have like 47 books left, which I end up passing those out on parent night. Parents came and took some books, but it was so impactful and I was so grateful. And I just didn't understand how important it was until one morning when I walked in to work and I found these thank you letters as well as cards made by the students. They just said, thank you for just giving them books. They just books. And this is from our CI class, all these here. And then as the day went on, I also received letters, handwritten letters from our students who were just enrolled. Most of them know very little English. And they wrote me thank you letters, some in their own languages, just thanking for the books and the book giveaway and how it impacted them. So I'd like to read you one of the ones that I like when I first seen it. And it was just, you know, I'm kind of, you know, I'm a coach, I can get a little choked up sometimes. So it did. And it just says, thank you, Coach Scott. You're the best. I love the books. I was so happy when I was told I could get a book. This is the first book that I can keep. And it had a really happy space, and I really like that one. And the next one, I'm going to have to put my reading glasses on because this one was kind of hard for me here because the student said, she said, dear Coach Scott, thank you so much for the books. I got thanks for the book giveaway. I usually read books that fall under the category of romance comedy category. So I tried another gender book with your help. But the giveaway, I thought I would try something a little different. I wanted something that was comfortable that I would like to read without having to pay for it. So I wouldn't lose anything. So I decided to try a thriller on your recommendation. I'm loving it. So thank you for giving me a chance to try and love something new. Sincerely, Ariana. And I would just like to thank the district for, we just left Tampa, which was great. I brought everybody back with me, you know, so they came back. It was great. And, you know, you meet a lot of people there. They throw out a lot of different ideas, a lot of training ideas, but I had a conversation with a young lady and I told her that, you know, about our district and the people that were here with me. And she pointed out, I told her that I worked with Brandon and Jarrell, and she goes, 3 Afro-American male in one district? I said, well, yes. She says, no, that's unheard of in one district. And I said, well, thank you. She said, you know, the impact that you can have in that district. And I thought it was just great as she told me the impact that it was. And I also, you know, fed her some information, letting her know not only we do, you know, impact in our media centers, but we also do things outside of our media center with our kids. And I just want to thank the district for allowing us, and Ms. Geraldine allowing us, you know, time to go to this meeting, which was really impactful, and I learned a lot. And I just want to thank everyone and thank you guys. Thank you.
Hello, I am Jabril Naeem. I am the media specialist for the middle school and for Ace High School. And very quickly, with some of the money that we've done, the book giveaways have been great. We did a book fair. I've been able to do so many different things with the students in terms of doing after school clubs. The 826 Michigan, we have a writing club that we just did today. Getting authors to come in and talk to our kids about writing, what the future can look like, if that's something they want to pursue. Writing scripts for YouTube channels that they want to do, or doing poetry, writing cookbooks, stuff like that. And so they're really, really having a good time with it over at the high school. I'm also working with them on the anime club. So we're getting ready to put together our podcast as well. So we can start not only reading the stuff and watching the videos, but then also creating some of our own, doing voiceovers with them because they're really passionate about it. And so giving them the space to where they can come in and feel like they can be comfortable in themselves. Being able to express these things that they enjoy with other people who enjoy it. Other things I do at the middle school and the high school, but I'm gonna let somebody else talk now. Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Sean Brandon. I'm the media specialist for Perry and Ford Early Learning Centers. The LEAP grant has helped tremendously. I can't tell you how many times I come into work and I have kids beeline directly to the library to tell me how much they love the book that I gave them for free. And they want to know, when am I going to give them some more free books? And I tell them it's coming soon. And they're just like, well, hurry up. I love these books. They're so cool. They're awesome. I want a Booger book next. And I'm like, not too many of those anymore. But I love the passion that they're gaining from being exposed to so many different things that might not have been possible thanks to the LEAP grant. I also appreciate being able to go to these conferences, being able to meet different people across the country who do the same things that I do, but with a completely different community and population and kids and experience level. I got to meet authors that helped me put together a reading rewards program for my first graders at Ford and Perry. October was our first month. It was like a trial month. We're still learning how to input our minutes into Beanstack, but for some first graders with iPads, they know a lot more than I do. So they're moving faster than I am. But we had a really awesome experience, and I can't wait for November to happen. We gave out a lot of prizes. I felt bad because I made my wife beat the streets with me, asking people to donate to our program, because during this program, all the books that they're logging are books I gave them. And they're so excited. I get to see how many minutes they're reading, how many pages they're reading. They're learning so much, and I appreciate so much that this district has given me. And I just love being able to give back as much as possible. Thank you.
I'm Katie Johnson. I am the media specialist for Holmes Elementary as well as YC2. The LEAP grant has definitely helped us bring in a bunch of new books because some of these libraries just kind of had old ones that were printed before I was born. So it was nice to bring some new ones in, and the kids really notice it. And they're starting to learn how to care for a book, because when they know that it's a new cover and it's got a new label, they are so excited. And I say, I'm given you this book, you know, take care of it. And they come back, Miss Johnson, I didn't do anything bad with the book. It's still, you know, because the other ones have colors on them. I go, that's how we treat books. And with the book giveaway, we are able to give actual books to these students, especially for the online school at YC2. We were able to give stacks of books. So these students don't have to sit on the computer all day long. We want them to hold the book, feel the page versus just staring at a screen all day long. And we want to start, especially in the middle school, do class read aloud. So everyone has to partake and not just be quiet and sit behind a screen and look elsewhere. What we want to interact more with them. And then at homes too, bringing those new books, I'm learning what they're interested in. So now that they know that we're getting new books in, they come up to me with lists every day. Miss Johnson, can you get this book and this book? Well, my sister was reading this book. Can you get this? Yep. Well, how long? Just like Sean was saying, how long does it take? How long does it? Well, I got a list, so I'll show them. I am not just listening. I'm writing down, and we are keeping that for the next order. So again, thank you for allowing us to continue this. It's definitely making an impact with all of our students. So.
Hi, my name is Amanda Garner. I'm the media specialist at Erickson and Estabrook Elementary Schools. And we've heard a lot of talk about our book giveaways and things that the public tends to see. I wanted to share some of the stuff that you might not have noticed. Last year, I checked out over 13,000 books between the two schools that I work at. And the biggest difference I think the LEAP grant has done in the library is by bringing in new content. I just checked the statistics on my Erickson library, and the average publishing year is 1997, which is a vast improvement from when I started working here 5 years ago, and it was down in the 80s. So the more we start bringing in these new books, these books that are interesting to our students, the higher we raise that publishing year. So it's more current, it's more relevant. And I see that in the diversity that our students are checking out. They're not just checking out the same things. They're not just checking out Diary of a Wimpy Kid and Dog Man over and over again. I still have the students who are doing that, but being able to watch them grow as readers in the time that I've been with this district has been a beautiful thing. And the LEAP grant has allowed us to expand that interest and really, I think, create an environment that cultivates lifelong learners and readers. So in addition to purchasing books for the library, the LEAP grant has also allowed me to purchase different display forms. So one of the things I'm focused on is making the library more accessible to students, especially when we have emergent readers who look at a shelf of books and can't read the titles on the spines. So making more books visible, I've purchased a bunch more displays so that we have picture book displays that are like bins. You know, if you've been to a record store, you can kind of flip through. Students can see those titles. My beginner, like early reader books are now on waterfall displays so that the students see the pictures and are drawn into that. My chapter books, I have my popular series are faced out on display, so it's easier for students to find them and also see new things, and also help me put away some of the books, especially the very popular series. The biggest project I've started undertaking is genrifying the entire library. It's going to take a long time. I have started with our fictional chapter books. That's one that our students have a hard time navigating. It's alphabetized by author's last name, and they don't know authors' last names. Why would they, right? So in the process of doing this, as they check out books and get returned, I look up what the genre of that book would be. I add a sticker to it. I put it back on the shelf, with the end result being eventually I'll have enough stickers. I can rearrange the entire fiction section by genre, but it's already making an impact for the ease of my students to find books. Like horror books was a big one. I'm not personally familiar with a lot of horror books. It was not a genre I was ever interested in reading. But now I have a little horror sticker on that. I can direct them to those, look for that sticker. It gives them more independence, and it takes away some of the barriers that they have when they're in the library finding books and navigating on their own. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Board, did you have any questions for them?
I didn't have a question, but I did want to just give a kudos to the media specialists. I've been in all of the libraries. They're clean. They're engaging. And I just think it's a wonderful thing. I do want to also say for the district that it is very encouraging to have a diverse staff. It is impactful because a lot of times there's an assumption that Black boys can't read. And it's good to see that we have, representation and examples that, yes, it is important for you to read. And I just think we have an awesome staff, and Miss Geraldine, I love her. I think, I'm just very happy with this, and I'm just looking forward to those literacy rates being where they need to be. But I'm sure we'll get there because we have an excellent team to do that. So thank you.
Again, thank you. We do appreciate you. So that moves us to 5B, 2023-24 budget update.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. This is in your MASB's field book. This is the point in time in which you typically get your budget update to find out where we are. You would normally also be hearing from our auditors, and so our Director of Budget and Finance will give you an update and tell you where we are with our finances to date.
Madam Vice President, Madam Superintendent, Board Trustees, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. This is our first quarter financial update. This is our first time talking about the budget since we've had the budget resolution in June of 2023. So we're going to cover our 2023-24 foundation allowance, our current federal funding, and our way forward throughout the rest of the school year. In June, we made our budget resolution based off of a $9,150 per pupil cost. Since June, as of July, once the fiscal year started and the state treasury put out our new per pupil rate, it has increased $458 per student. So our budget was set based off of 3,648 students. We have an increase of $1.6 million for our general fund. That goes to school operations and making sure we can cover the needs of increasing increasing budget, increasing benefits and all the things that go into running the district, utilities, sanitation services, all those kind of things. So that funding is increasing and it gives us the opportunity to continue to provide the basic needs. Our federal funding, we have our titles, Title I, Title III, Title I, II, III, and IV, that continue to help our students progress and get the necessary information and tools in the building. But we also have 2 special funds. You just heard about the great things that the LEAP grant is doing, but we also have our SEEK grant. And that we're in year 3 of the SEEK grant, and that gives us $5 million a year to work towards professional development and helping educators move to the next level. We talked about SEEK quite a bit, and our SEEK managers in the room and helps us prepare our national board certified instructors and things like that. So there's an opportunity, there are a few more opportunities as we go out the school year with LEAP, and there's more, SEEK, and there's more to come with that. But that is a huge help with the budget and helping our educators, and that information going down into our students and helping them excel in the classroom. We have recently been awarded the Magnet grant from the U.S. Department of Education. We are the only school district in Michigan. Do I have that right? Okay. The only school district in Michigan to have that, and it gives us roughly $3 million a year for funding. This is our implementation year. So all of the information to come with that is still being developed. The team is going to the Department of Education to learn more about what it takes, what needs to get done, and how all that stuff comes together. But as we move forward, that funding will help us expand our offerings at 4 of our schools, 2 elementaries, middle school, and the high school.
Before you go on, so is this the third and final year for the seat?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So our way forward, our big news that has hit the headlines is the state has set a bill in place, a bill to forgive a good portion of the district debt, and that number is about $42 million. That is indeed great news, but we must remember that is just a bill. And for those of you that are close to my age, remember a bill that's sitting on Capitol Hill. It still needs to be put through so it passes both houses of the state legislature. We do have plans for the funds, but we're working with Treasury, our financial manager at PFM, and our attorneys at Troon to make sure we have everything in place and those funds are used properly. So we have some ideas, but we really can't jump out there and say we're in the clear until the whole process is complete. We are still working through our audit, which is a little bit longer than normal, but we've had a lot of transition and we're working through all of those processes to make sure everything is intact and we can still stand tall on the processes and procedures we have as running the district smoothly. We do have enough cash on hand to manage district operations. And that's a big part of that is because we are working and continuing to work with grant deadlines, drawdowns, and all the other ancillary processes that keep us going. So we're in a good spot. Again, the transition with our business office has lost a few people, and we are putting long-term employees in place. So that slowed us down a little bit on the audit, but we are on a good track. We're meeting with the audit team regularly to make sure we get everything in place. What questions might you have? Thank you all for your time. Oh.
Board? Trustee Goodrich?
Thank you, Madam Vice President. So we're still working to close out the audit. Do you have a timeline in place for finalizing the audit?
We believe we're on track to have everything done by December 1st, all information turned in, uploaded to all of the state systems. We're working with the audit team this week to review some information, get their feedback, and we should have a final review the week of November 22nd, and that we can turn everything in.
Thank you. Madam Treasurer.
Sure. Thanks. And I will just at this time shout out our staff, Dr. Zachary Ross, Mr. Butler, and all of our state legislators who have gotten that 42 million as far as we have. That is extremely exciting and a huge opportunity that we've been banging down the door for a long time to get debt relief in this district. I was wondering if you could just comment briefly on the structure of that debt relief and the buckets, so to speak, that it goes in. Could you just give us like a quick overview of what that impact would be?
So overall, we have about $42 million that are coming to us, and it's going to cover the consolidation debt, both from Ypsi Public Schools and Willow Run Public Schools. So all of that debt is proposed to be forgiven. And then there's a large chunk of $19 million to go cover the money we borrowed to fill in the difference in the tax revenue from the Willow Run district. And there's and another portion for classroom and educational improvements.
So our Willow Run, former Willow Run district taxpayers are going to see a decrease in their tax bill.
Yes, that is the plan.
Thank you.
I would just like to say, I know we haven't formally said anything, but we would like to thank, I would like to personally thank, our legislators that helped advocate on our behalf. But I would also want to say thank you to this board because and our superintendent and our team, because a lot of that information came from us. We did a lot of crying, praying, fighting, in good way to get this done. This conversation was not an overnight conversation. I don't think people really understand the impact of what this is going to do for this district, but you will learn. And I'm just excited. I want to especially say to Dr. Zachary Ross, and I know Dr. Hawkins is not here as well. Thank you. Because people don't know about the 5 a.m. drives to Lansing. People don't know about the 11 and PM and 12 PM and 1 PM conversations. And they probably will never understand what this means. But I would like to personally say thank you for sticking it out and working. And every board member here has advocated, had closed and outside conversations, corrections to assumptions. And I'm just thankful to be a part of this team. And I know our leader is not here, but she too as well was in the trenches with us. And so, and I know you're the new kid on the block, but you came on right in. I'm glad you're from the military. You knew what to do. But thank you to everybody, to Dr. Coscarella for all of the grant money. He is definitely a money man. We appreciate you and all of our team and staff, just, you know, sticking in the trenches with us. But I'm excited. I know I was humming the song, I'm just a bill, just an ordinary on Capitol Hill, but we're going to get it. We're already claiming that. And so I just want to say thank you to everybody personally, because this is something major for me. It's personal simply because I'm a product of this district. And I know what this district was, but we're not trying to be what we were. We're trying to be better than that. And so I'm just excited. So thank you, everybody.
And I have one question. I don't know, I may just be nervous, but since we're losing that SEEK grant,
I think we're in a good place, but I really can't speculate on that right now. I'd have to sit with the team, research and get back to you.
And remember what the SEEK grant pays for. The SEEK grant pays for that. When they went to that professional development, all Michigan grants, you have to stay within Michigan. So when they were able to go to Tampa, that's paid for professional development out of the SEEK grant. And so they're able to get professional development. It pays for our Rising Leaders program. It pays for a lot of the books that they're able to get to do our book studies with our staff. It pays for when we bring in all of our speakers from out of state. So it doesn't pay for people and salaries, that kind of additional things. That's the LEAP grant. That's the LEAP. So the LEAP pays for the books. So we have 2 more years for the LEAP grant to continue, for us to continue. And we can apply, we can reapply for the SEEK. So we got to that's why we spend it. That's why the buildings last year had self-selected professional development. I know this grant, don't I? Dr. Coscarella. They had self-selected professional development. And so from the building, so the things that they do in the buildings, and they were able to, like Cornelius Minor came to Erickson earlier this year. So you say, how did you get that at Erickson? Well, SEEK grant paid for it. That's an example. And so when they have those kinds of things, we're not doing it out of our general funds. We're not doing it out of Title II. We're paying for those special things. When you see, oh, why are they going to today, we have people at the Danielson Conference. They're paid for out of SEEK. And so that's the U.S. and that's a U.S. Department of Education grant. Again, we are very few out of our state that has that grant. And so we will reapply. So that's kind of why he was hesitating, because it's like, yes, it's the final year. We just are hoping it's not the final year. We just can't guarantee it. We're very fortunate to get it. I think there was only 38 in the nation at the time. Was it 22 that received it the year we received it. So that's very few of them. This magnet grant, I think it was only 16. So these are very competitive US Department of Education, federal grants. And so we don't say we're gonna get it because it's so competitive. I'm like Trustee Townsend. We just believe in we're gonna continue because it really makes an impact. You hear the impact that happens when they're able to go out of state to see things that it's great to be in Michigan and experience those things. But the fact that our staff can go out of state, can have these, be exposed to meet authors, we couldn't do that if we were just using our normal grants. So it won't take away from general fund or salaries or things that we do for normal operations. It would take away from like our Rising Leaders programs and to be able to go to these additional conferences.
Thank you.
Board recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express their views. Please limit statements to 3 minutes duration. Participants shall limit all comments to the board and not to staff or other participants. No person may address or question board members' positions. Remarks should be made in a respectful and professional manner.
Madam Vice President, did you want me to keep time? Very good. Make sure. Well, I just know you usually do it, so.
First person, Brenda Thunder.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here before the board, but I am so excited about the $42 million. And Mayor Lois Richardson actually came to me and of course, the superintendent, and we have really been praying, like you said, and working towards helping with this debt relief, because it will help everyone in the school district and hopefully bring equity in the pay for employees, as well as bring taxpayer relief to the homeowners and the businesses, in the district. But Kirk Profit is the township lobbyist and worked very hard and hand in hand with the superintendent, and we had Zoom meetings, and it really was a team effort. And I thank the board for really pushing it, this board and our board and the city council. And it was a team effort. I don't think it would have happened the way it did. It was started out at 7 million and then it went to 25 million and ended up at 41 million. So I almost cried, because I was so happy for the people who will be greatly affected, and it'll affect the homeowners and the business owners, and taxes cause unaffordable housing sometimes. So it'll be a positive relief for a lot of people, but I'm just so blessed that it happened and so thankful for the school district that can actually hopefully have less stress on this. And we needed some good news, and we sure did get it. And thank you to the superintendent and the school board. We were proud to stand with you on this and with many other things in the district. So it's win-win. It's a good day. So let's claim it. I wanted to take time out and just say thank you and congratulations.
Hello to the board. My name is David Stevens. I attended Ypsilanti schools for most of my life and graduated from high school. I began subbing as a paraeducator in YCS. I love working with my students with special needs. And in this in September of 2013, I was hired for a permanent position as a paraeducator. After a year working in different schools, I was placed in an early childhood special education classroom at Perry. It was like homecoming because I started school in that same program many years ago. My special education team at Perry was amazing and I loved everything about my job. And then the pandemic hit. Being online was challenging, but I love working with the kids, families, and my team every day. When the 2021 school year began, and some children returned to school in person, my doctor was concerned about me returning to work due to serious health conditions that would impact my breathing and advised me to take a medical leave of absence. The cases of COVID rose again at the beginning of 2021 and 2022 school year, and the risk to my health contracting COVID was too great. So I reluctantly resigned from a position that I really loved. After 2 years of receiving COVID shots and boosters, I felt that a serious risk to my health from COVID had lessened, and I reapplied to return to YCS. I was thrilled I was able to rejoin my Perry team since there was an open para position in that classroom. Even though I was excited to return to my job that I loved, I was disappointed to learn that I would not be able to return to the same level as pay. Same level as pay that I received when I left YCS, but instead would be placed on the first step of pay scale. Also, even though I had 45 sick days saved up, they were erased when I was rehired into the district. The only reason that I left YCS was because of health concerns related to COVID. Looking back, maybe I should have tried to extend my medical leave of absence until it was safe for me to return, but I wasn't sure if that was an option. I know that the district has a lot of unfilled teacher and support staff positions, so I don't understand why our former employees that would want to return to YCS are penalized by receiving lower pay. I would think that the district would welcome back returning staff instead of making people rethink whether or not they would value if they decided not to return to the district. Please think about this situation and fix it so more staff would consider returning to YCS. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alicia. This is my husband, Anton Swanson, and we're here tonight because I'm a little bit irritated about an incident that happened at Wise. More so worried about my daughter's, her safety. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the incident that happened at Wise, but it shouldn't have happened that way. Her safety, what are you guys gonna do next? Like, y'all didn't ID him. He didn't sign her out, even though he was up there to get him, but y'all took him through so many different things before he was actually able to get my daughter, then caused a scene with somebody else's child. Like, I just want to know what's going to be done for other kids' safety as well.
Concerned about the sake of other children, not the incident with the child that was there with our child. I was never ID. I never signed nothing to get my daughter out of school. They never asked me my name. Didn't nobody know who I was. And they just released her to me without signing a sheet, ID, or asking me my name and who I was. Then they released my daughter saying that I was drunk. So And that was after I called her out on what she did. Then she told my wife, well, he was drunk.
This is when I called back up here to see
Yeah.
what was the problem, like what took so long for my daughter to get to the office in the first place. When I had called earlier that day, I sent an email to the teacher to let them know that my daughter needed to be signed out. And then I'm calling while my husband is saying her name. I'm asking on the phone for Destiny Pernille, but somehow don't nobody know what's going on. Like, that shouldn't have happened like that at all. And I'm just here to voice my concern for the safety of my child and others as well.
Yeah, I'm concerned because she said I was drunk. I don't drink, wasn't drink, take medication, can't drink. But if you said I was drunk or thought I was drunk, you let a child leave the school with somebody you said was drunk, this is the principal. And you never ID'd me. You don't know who picked my child up. Can nobody tell right now the name of the person who picked Destiny up? Because I was never asked my name, never produced my ID, never said my name, any of that.
And
Never
for the
signed
record,
out.
it's on file that when my daughter does get signed out, that I'm supposed to call, and that's per the courts. Because
Somebody's on there that's not supposed to be picking her up, so they don't know if I was that person, or I was her stepdad, or I was a stranger. Never knew none of that, so that's why we're here today. Not about the incident, the little girl, that's for her parents to take care of. We concerned about that too, but we can't speak on that. I'm sure you guys seen the video. But we're here because I checked my daughter out when I was signing, nobody knew my name. And when I called them out on what they did to the girl, all of a sudden they're gonna call the police on me, trespass me, and I'm drunk. Wasn't drunk, don't drink.
when if I can't pick up my daughter, he has to pick up, he's on her emergency card, so how is he trespassing at this point?
And how if you say I'm drunk, you let the baby leave with me.
Like,
And you don't know who I am. So that's all I can say, and that's all we came here for. We just hope y'all, take a look at that, people getting checked out and how they getting checked out and who they getting checked out to, and then the identification being looked at, knowing that this is the person that can check this child out. That's about it.
thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Sean Brandon. I am a 17-year, this is my 17th year running All About Speed Track Club and All About Ball Youth Sports. I've ran it in Flint, Michigan, where I'm originally from. I do youth sports all over the place. Had a lot of success, and I was wondering if there's anything set up or in place or in the process for elementary athletics, and if there is, what is the process? If there is not, how do I become a part of the process to bring elementary athletics here? Because I see there is a need and a want, and I would like to be able to facilitate offering something that helps make being a YCS student a lot more fun when you're able to compete and participate in sports here in the district, as opposed to going out of the district to get your athletic endeavors completed. If there's any help I can be to help get that started, I would love to be a part of the process. Thank you. That's all.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Education approve the October 16th, 2023 regular board meeting minutes and personnel matters as per the presented list dated 10/30/23, new hires, resignations, and retirements.
Trustee Townsend, support.
Aye.
Number 8, action item. Bid review findings. 8A, acceptance of a donation. Bill Barnett. Do you have a motion?
Madam President, this is Trustee Gainsley. I move that the Board of Education accept a donation of a 2015 Ford Focus from Mr. and Mrs. Atchison of Atchison Ford.
Trustee Fields, I support.
Aye.
Hearing none, motion passes six to zero.
Thank you. To the Atchison family. Is Mr. Burnett here?
Not today.
Thank you. Mr. Burnett. Donation for YCS event. Prepare to vote.
Madam President, Trustee Townsend, I move that the Board of Education accept donation from McDonald's for $5,000, Engage at NPMU for $1,000, WCC for $1,000, Pucker Red for $5,000, Impact Education backpacks and notebooks, Growing Hope for $1,000, in-kind donation of space for YCS.
Support.
Trustee Schindler, support.
Favor.
Aye.
Discussion, any board of education discussion report.
Thank you, Vice President. We met, Trustee Townsend and I joined the Finance and Operations Subcommittee meeting. Most of the comments that are part of the subcommittee meeting have already been addressed as part of this board meeting. We did hear from Mr. Butler and had a finance presentation. Of course, we're, disappointed that the audit didn't go as planned and that it didn't get in on November 1st, which was the original deadline. Very, pleased and wanted to make sure that the team is being fully supported and making sure that that is completed by December 1st. And so that update was part of it. We also heard an update about our facilities and operations team. It sounds like there are a number of retirements, and so there are going to be some positions posted. And I know that our team has, our administration has recommended moving forward with hiring an interim director so that they can train with some of our staff who are planning on retiring. So we're excited about the proactive action in that area, and certainly going to be doing some hiring in the skilled trades areas. So, if anyone knows any great skilled trades people to send our way, we'll be looking in the next few months. Those were the main two updates that we received.
Is there anyone else? Well, I had my first Head Start meeting. It was held on October 14th. It was just a informative meeting of how the Head Start work and how they select kids, and we went over the enrollment reports, the attendance, performance, and the Roberts rules that they go by in the meetings. And then our next meeting is Tuesday, November 14th at 4:00. And then that meeting, we will be selecting officers. So I will let you know how that goes.
Trustee Fields, I just want to make a report on the communications team. We did meet, I think it was 2 weeks ago. So we met with our new communications company, our contract that we have with, and kind of went over what we have planned for the upcoming year for our 10-year anniversary, doing different things. Everything is kind of like upcoming. We did have the event that we had at the football game a couple of weeks ago. So that was really nice. And we finally been seeing
documented pictures and information about that on our communication emails we've been receiving. So just keep our heads up about upcoming events. I'm looking forward to everything that's coming up. It looks like we're still on track, I'm assuming, to do something once a month. I think that was the last thing I heard. So we're looking forward to anything else new that's coming up to recognize our 10-year anniversary and more meetings to come.
Okay. Seeing no more reports, we are at 10B, relocation of Ypsilanti Community Middle School. I will turn that over to you, Dr. Zachary Rose.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice President. We've been having many conversations recently with additional student bodies. We know FTEs have been going up and down at Ypsilanti Community Middle School, as you saw the numbers last board meeting. And we have our new middle school principal, Principal Charles Davis. He's not able to attend today because he's at, again, that training, and has had made a request about moving the middle school. He's been working with Director Rose, who's been bringing this kind of to our attention over the last few years as we've been thinking about what would we do since the WISD moved out of the middle school, and there's been some investments there. And looking at what we've been doing with the lighting, looking at how we might utilize that building that is a really, really in good shape. We want to make sure that we think about that, the Willow Run community, and a community that has really supported our district. And doing walkthroughs of the facility, it is the recommendation to move the middle school to that facility. We've been talking about why that might be. Number one, and I have Director Rose is over there. He's gonna have to probably help me out with some of our talking points because he has put them in writing, I believe. Yes, he has some points to consider, so I'm going to just kind of let him come on up and start bringing them. But some of those points are thinking about capacity as our building is growing. Are you going to show them, or are you just going to talk about them?
I can talk about them.
Okay.
We can put them up if we need to. They're
The-
just bullets.
Yes, I'm
not
just
really-
overall, just think it as just kind of as the preface is the size differences, really looking at the usage, being able to know that, especially as we have the magnet grant, I think it just brings it up. I know the facilities committee, before the pandemic, that was part of the conversation of the board, is to have a facilities committee. And so just before he starts talking about like, why now? Like, why is this urgency to have this dialogue, which remember in our adaptive schools is to come to understanding, and it might go to a discussion to make a decision. But it's because of the magnet grant, really. If we're moving to IB and we're going to have STEAM going all the way through, right now there's no additional rooms to add different things in our current middle school space. So if we want to use maker spaces, if we want to have like we've talked about adding communities in schools, if we talk about having a track, the IB track, where would that be in our current building? And so now that we have that opportunity to utilize space and to think about programming for next year, that is our biggest concern, is how might that happen in our current space? And so
Absolutely.
Director Rose has the actual logistics.
Love to just bring some things out on the table for consideration that certainly we can play with in our dialogue. The age, well, everything driven from capacity. Starting off with the age of the two buildings. East is a 1959 build, and Willow Run Middle School is 2004. The square footage, 88.9, so just about 89,000 square foot at the east site, and 176 and some change at Willow Run. So significant square footage increase. In capacity, when we looked at capacity before, we used the TMP report that came out of our audit in 2013, which had numbers at 835 for the east location and 1080 for the Willow Run location. What we did is took a look at it from an instructional standpoint relative to how we instruct students at both of those sites. putting 25 students in a classroom with that opportunity for flexible seating and the maker spaces and things that that instruction looks like now. So we have the east side at 660 students and Willow Run Middle School at 825 as an opportunity there. As we mentioned, assets that the Willow Run Middle School site has, in addition to what the east site currently provides. You have an additional gym, an auxiliary gym. You have an 8-lane swimming pool. There's an auditorium with the largest capacity in the county at 1,100. 4 houses that have 8 classrooms each versus the 3 houses at the east site that have 6 classrooms each. Those 4 houses have the ability to be subdivided into houses. They're partitioned off the houses themselves are. And then in each of those houses, there's 2 sets of expandable classrooms, 4 classrooms that can come into larger settings of 2. So that you can accommodate and expand and be flexible in how you arrange students. There's intentional office spaces. When these buildings were built in 2004, they learned a lot since the 50s. And so they were intentional about the office spaces and the breakout spaces that they have for both students and staff. One additional opportunity, while we have Supervisor Stumbo in the building, I got a call just the other day from the township. They have outgrown their Parks and Rec basketball space at the old Foster School. So they were looking to rent some spaces. So I've had some conversations and looking for those conversations to go further internal at the township, but the opportunity possibly of the baseball and softball diamonds that are on Clark Road to serve as opportunities for our athletic program moving over to the middle school at Willow Run. So we have a football field there that we can look at renovating and bringing back online, and then the opportunities that may be in partnering with the township that we can realize some athletic spaces. Money. When we talk about operationally, right now our gas utility at Willow Run Complex is $67,837. That continues whether you have students in that building or not. Those boilers run that entire complex. And so you burn that. So if we put those kids there, the money that you spend at East currently is $20,958. So we can throttle that back down in the vacancy year, in that gap year, as we decide what program, as we continue with our plans to occupy that east site with a different program, you can throttle that back. And so that's something to consider as well. On the other side of the coin, there's some things that we need to consider that will that aren't asset based. The furniture, we need to furnish the building. And Solomon and I have talked at length with the team. Technology is a consideration there as well, including equipment and infrastructure. As you think about and put the principal hat on, the opportunity to create climate and then create culture, brand that IB middle school curriculum with the environment and the facility. And then what is it going to cost us and what opportunities do we create? So those are kind of the things to throw it on the table and mess with as we have dialogue.
When WISD was there, didn't they remodel that place to make it fit for them?
What they did was they took 2 spaces in 2 of the houses and that were some storage combined with some staff meeting spaces, and created some bathrooms, some multi-stall bathrooms that were used to for the students that needed that special attention. So we are looking at how would we use that space, partition those off, utilize them as maybe gender binary type of bathrooms, staff bathrooms, additional just general use bathrooms for students. So it's an asset, and that we just get to determine how we utilize it.
Oh, okay, so you won't try to fix it back, okay,
No, it's a great resource. We just determine how we want to utilize it. So
okay.
we get to plan that. Other questions before we? Yeah, Ms. Fields.
So if you switch, we go over there, what will now happen with East? I mean, is that still now gonna be a building again? I mean, we're trying to get rid of that kind of scenario.
That's
What was that?
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
We need to be intentional about that, and that's conversation and dialogue that needs to happen, because we absolutely need to have a plan for leaving a building as much as we plan to move into a building. Absolutely.
Occupy another, now we still got one, we got to figure out what is that.
Yep. I really like the lens that Dr. Lopez offered in this conversation, is where are your opportunities to grow? And so really focus in on where your opportunities to grow, and then.
And that would be
use
the
that.
board subcommittee that was in place before they could come in and talk about that building versus the other building. So it was a board subcommittee, it's just which building are they talking about now?
No, great point, though. I appreciate that viewpoint.
Mr. Rose, what's the current student count at the middle school? I know that we talked
I
about.
believe when I talked to Principal Davis, it was 450, and they were gaining kids each day after count that they were trying to capture. But that conversation was just early last week.
And I know that we had planned on adding a program with this new magnet grant as well. And so we're hoping that that's going to be an expansion in addition.
Absolutely.
Would that program start in the 24-25 school year?
This is that implementation year. I
Yeah,
believe.
so this is the implementation year, and then we'd have to start in the fall.
Okay. So it would, yeah,
would
potentially have
impact.
expansion that would impact that building. So I failed to mention also in my committee report that we discussed this topic. One of the things that came up in terms of the timing was just that it was a whole lot easier in terms of thinking about what buildings might move into East, that it was a lot easier to think about one move at a time. Instead of trying to move out of the building at the same time as someone else was moving into a building. And so our committee really felt like, we wanted to start thinking, we really felt like the decision needed to be made now in November, December, if we're going to be making a decision for, the following fall. So the facilities team has time to prepare. But we also specifically didn't want to move another building in right at the same time. We thought that having that year to move into this empty building gave us then some space to have some more board conversations about how we might use that East building.
Yeah, I think that raising that fact that we have, that's an asset that we have a building, an extra if you can call it that, right? To move and not have to jump right into the next one, but yet be intentional about each of those steps.
Trustee Schindler?
Thank you. Mr. Rose, thank you for this. I am mindful of utilizing the space on the east side of town because it's been largely neglected by the combined school district, not necessarily through a whole lot of fault of our own, but it still has been, our resources have been pushed to the west side of the county or the district. I know that. This is like maybe the fourth location for the middle school in the 10 years that I've been on the board. Like we're going back to where we were, and I'm trying to remember why we moved each time. But I mean, will this, like, the kids that are in middle school now, did they start in this building? You know what I mean? Like, I do historically feel like we're jumping all around like it just feels, if I were just a member of the public, I mean, it might feel like willy-nilly, you know what I'm saying?
So I can share a little bit because I lived through a lot of those, right? So we were east and west, and we occupied both as Ypsi Public. And then as numbers decreased student count wise, we went to one, which was Ypsi Middle School, and it was housed at the west location. And at that time, then the IB occupied the east location. So that was two locations that were occupied or that were accounted for there. Once the consolidation, then the move over to Ipsy or to Willow Run campus, right? And then Dr. Zachary Ross and I were talking about the move out of that space. And, you know, I was the principal prior to 2 years before that. We vacated and moved back to the east location and kind of completed that circle. The biggest difference that I see between our current reality now and our reality then was staffing. I was one principal with one assistant principal, and those in that building with a lot of not straight lines and you know, and things that we see as assets now and breakout opportunities in that. But that was one of the big drivers in managing students with a limited staff. And now with a principal, an associate principal, and 2 assistant principals in the 4 houses, that we had SLC leaders, but they were teaching. So that was a little different dynamic.
I asked the same very question.
Yeah. And actually, and you anticipated the remainder of my question, which was, I do remember those years, and there were a lot of discipline issues brought before the board just because there was a lot of difficulty with managing kids in that space. And I love that. I mean, I love that space, but
Architecturally, it's beautiful.
it's
right?
gorgeous. But it was built for a very sort of specific method of teaching that, you know, we weren't really utilizing.
I agree.
So you're feeling like there's enough staff and there's enough community and culture being built up that there's more of a likelihood that the program will succeed in that space in the way that the space and the program are intended to.
The hat I'm wearing now, from a facility standpoint, those small learning communities that I see and hear Principal Davis and Superintendent Ross describing in that, and the opportunity for the IB to be woven into that building. I see that there's some great opportunities there that the facility can offer, and then it's up to us to create a program and staff it so that it's successful or set up for success.
Okay, thank you.
What would that look like? Is Play at the Cage still there?
Say again?
Are they still in that occupied area?
The Play at the Cage, yes, 2 separate buildings, historically with 2 separate school codes. So yeah, separated with no opportunity for entrance onto either. So they're connected by a wall, but that's about it. Yeah.
Just wondering how that would look.
Improvements from a fire safety standpoint that you should know is that a new fire panel that connects the buildings the way they were intended and were, but with the conveniences of resetting at either side and not the coordinated resets and things that I lived through as a principal over there. So the space will be separated as it should from that standpoint, but connected where it should be.
Trustee Townsend?
I think it's anytime that we have an opportunity to grow, that's a great thing. One of the concerns that I do is, you know, really excited. Those are the opportunities at the same time, you don't really have a fast pace. And so, I want to make sure that we still, in some capacity, get some type of peer input, because we have to also consider some people may like the room, some people may not. So in our long-term plan, we just want to make sure that, you know, we're not talking about this 3 years down the line. We're talking about another year move, because that think about, but also just, you know, getting some type of input from parents. And also we have to be very intentional about how we're marketing this. If the board is to decide to, yes, we want to do this, we have to be very, very intentional about marketing this. That's going to be, we have staffing, how we want to make sure that this is a unique building of its own. And we want to make sure that those spaces are covered, and that parents understand that this is even though it's an old building, but the district is still a new building.
that the opportunities come to you.
Mhm.
And I want to also, further our athletics programs, or even our other programs such as music, band, choir, whatever, that those spaces meet the expectation that we want, just because we want in our, art and science room, that they meet the expectation that we want, because we're developing scientists, artists, all of it. I think that's pretty much it.
I have to say, but I want to make sure we're very strategic because we won't have any room for error on this.
No, and like you said, plan it well so that we execute well. Some of the things that I did overlook in raising is the music wing. It has an entire wing that's devoted to the performing arts with a dedicated band and choir room that are doorsteps away from the green room that leads to that large auditorium. So it's, it was thought out, it was built, to educate students, and I feel that it would be an asset to complement the programs that I hear about over at the middle school.
I just want to say that this is exciting. I share Trustee Schindler's trepidation about the move. I spent a lot of time in East the year that we moved the middle school there. I also remember a lot of the struggles with finding space for teachers and specialists to meet with students, and that right from the get-go that was a challenge in East for all the things that are really awesome about East. And I heartily agree with Trustee Townsend that we need to foreground all of the opportunities, and we need to really commit. And I know that we're all on the same page here, but we need to really commit to the staffing and the maintaining the opportunities that we can bring to students in this space. Because there's a lot that's awesome there. I'm very excited about the science classroom space there. But I'm sensitive to how much we need to be behind it and how carefully we need to roll it out and work with our community in bringing to our students the opportunities that space can offer.
Yeah, it's not the space that's going to be the magic part of it, right? Brings opportunity and sets us up to execute, but it ultimately is the staff that is going to deliver the magic. Yeah, and I lived in that space as a teacher at East when we were instructing about 600, 200 per pod. But instruction looked so much different back then, right? And we didn't know about social emotional. We knew that we needed to care for kids, but the time and the intentionality around that and the staffing that it takes to do the work that we do, the parking lots are much fuller than they used to be, right, with cars.
I'll just add another, I know I already went, but Mr. Rose, I just really appreciate having the data side by side. I do want to just acknowledge, like, East is a gorgeous building. It's a beautiful facility. It's got these incredible courtyards. It's a really amazing facility, but it is definitely clear there with the number of students that we've got, and especially with counselors, social workers, physical therapy, the RAS, the clinic, that those sorts of services are things that we didn't used to offer. We didn't used to need space for those sorts of things in our buildings. I also get the opportunity, my daughter swims with IFC Otters, so I'm in the Willow Run building a lot, and it is a incredible building, and it's just such a disappointment that we're not using it currently as a district. So the opportunity to get back in that building is really incredibly wonderful. Particularly in light of today being able to hopefully, knock on wood, celebrate that our Willow Run taxpayers have been paying that building off, and hopefully not for 10 more years now because of this debt relief, but that's a significant point. So I guess just to echo Trustee Townsend's comments, I would really love if we could find some opportunities, should the board make this decision, to invite the community into that space, and let people see it. I don't think that if you haven't been in it, I don't think folks know this beautiful media center with the high ceilings and the windows. I mean, it's just a gorgeous space. And I think that partly in celebration of sort of the building being paid off and then partly in celebration of our district reinvesting in it. I would really love to see some public engagement there.
Yeah, as a lifelong Willow Run resident, I can appreciate all of what you just shared and the energy that, I mean, I can hear the kids playing from my house, right? So the energy in the summer is much different than driving by it for the other 9 months. So I would welcome kids in the background of in the noise, the din, right? And so, yeah, those things are all points to raise and are important for us not to lose sight of.
What, need a recommendation or where, is this just a discussion? Where do we stand?
We were at a discussion and we wanted to know what additional information you might need. We said we were at a dialogue where we were coming to shared understanding, and we might move to a discussion where we came to a decision, because the decision really is, at this point, what would be needed is we're going to need, if we move forward, we would have to start with an RFP for technology as well as for flexible seating, because we wouldn't just move furniture from another building. We'd have to really look at the space with our facilities folks and say, okay, what does this space need to look like for the type of, as you said about being strategic, the type of instruction that needs to happen in that building. And so really looking at what does the labs look like? What does it really look like to be the IB portion, the STEAM portions, and where those things will be housed. And then they'd have to go for an RFP for those types of things to happen so that we can be in place and be ready to move forward.
So what happened to the furniture that was in there?
That furniture is, most of it is over at the East Middle School site now, because it's middle school furniture, and middle school furniture needs to be where middle schoolers are at. Right?
And it really truly to do what we're trying to do. I just gotta, not like we're really trying to move to that, to where we're going, and that those kind of the instruction that's going to be needed. And what we want that flexible. We've been buying as much as we can with small, and I'm looking at my teacher, it's small spaces. They've been really trying to get flexible. I want to do that. I was just in a meeting with her. She was in tears because we want to do flexible spaces. I'm fighting flexible chairs. I was at the meeting and I had to take it off the table because we didn't have to, if we can do it. We're gonna get magnet school monies. We're gonna get the opportunity. We've got, if we can put the chair, put the kind of.
Yeah, I understand. I was
furniture,
just wondering
because
what happened. to
the furniture we had in our buildings, we haven't been able to do a bond, unfortunately, because of that 42 million. Like it's been the one thing in front of us. And so I just want, really is not the furniture. We've been moving around some of this furniture, man, like, and teachers have done a wonderful job. It's just like, if we can get great furniture.
Right. So much. But yeah, the furniture is a big part of that for the RFP, and then Solomon's equipment and infrastructure. So we would love to get that ball rolling, start getting some budget numbers out there for us to have some conversations around. But those are some of our constraints in terms of timeline.
So for me, what would be I'm all about the numbers as far as what is it gonna cost us for new furniture, just redesign, paint, whatever, overall.
Yeah.
Also looking at, what does this actual plan look like? So in January, where are we at? If we have to vote next month or whatever, what does that timeline look like? What assistance you would need or support you would need from the board? The manpower it's gonna require. Are we gonna have any overtime possibly? All of these things that affects things that we have to make a decision about. And any possible issues that we might run into with permits, things we might need to get permission from the state, whomever. Are there any concerns? I mean, we sit on the facilities, Trustee Gainsey and I sit on the facilities. Most of us have been in through all of the building, but what needs to occur today, that we need to know the plan.
Yeah.
And so I think the more we know, the easier decision it makes for us to say, okay, yeah, we agree to this. No, we don't. And then, of course, I'm all about the community understanding or being on this journey with us. I think we need to position it as a journey because we are taking the district to another level as far as providing IB services. So that puts us now in a league with other schools that provide IB services. So what separates us from IFSI from this school over here and why you should consider this district? Yeah, the paint looks good, the new chairs look good, but what does that look like as far as our staff, what we'll be teaching, those type of plans? So we can support that aspect that for the community. So we don't have anybody making assumptions about what we're doing. It's very clear and intentional. How does staffing look? What it looks like overall,
So, I want to
I
pause
know we
because,
can go so
yeah,
far,
just
but-
because he's got to do facilities. They're going to go the end of November to the Magnet Grant meeting. So some of that programming has to be determined by our Magnet Grant. So we
Okay.
gotta that's two different things. So one thing, because we got it at this point, if we're gonna take the money, we have to do it with the Magnet Grant folks. So it's just where we're gonna do it.
Right.
So that's two different things. One is where we're gonna, if we take the money, it's a lot that we don't know. We're going to US Department of Ed and they're gonna kind of dictate based off of that application we wrote, some of those pieces. So that wouldn't come from, that's gonna
Not
be
necessarily
after.
offer. You
Yeah,
do
that's gonna
not-
be after we go to, so that we won't even know till the end of November. And then they come back and then we gotta have planning meeting with the staff at the building. And so it probably won't be till January till we even start getting in, they're gonna be a lot of the planning based off of whatever the US Department of Ed says. But do we still they need to know where it's gonna be. So it's kind of two
We
conversations.
doing,
I just want to
yeah,
make
but we're
sure.
doing planning on all levels at the same
Yeah.
time.
I
is
just
what
wanna
I'm
make
saying.
sure
So
that-
once you get your plan, we need to know that plan too, so.
Yep, and we work really well
Together.
together and close together so that the facilities and what we purchase complements and is driven by what kids need. So we're in it together.
I have a question, and I want to say I have a lot of faith in the vision of this administration and the capability to carry out tough things on a short notice. So, but I think the community engagement will be crucial. But also, I think just thinking holistically, we had a lot of difficulties with the busing last year. It seems like things are better this year, but I would want to know how this would affect the bus schedules and so forth, because I think the last thing we want to do is find that we have to change the bus times again or something like that.
They're
just
right
that
next
sort
door.
of thing.
They're closer. They're
we
right-
thought-
the
we
buses
thought
are
through
right-
With the different, because it's farther away from the other schools and you know what I mean? Like just if it would have any,
Absolutely, seeing it through all lenses, Director.
like if I'm putting a kid on a bus, I just want to know.
Yeah,
what I'm
Director
doing.
Adams working through that and, yep, absolutely. Making sure that that's just another check box to make sure we're doing it right. Well, thank you guys for.
Wait,
Well, just one more, sorry.
No.
Another dollar question, in addition to the sort of estimates on technology and furniture, I'd like to know what's sinking fund eligible. And I know that with the vagaries of sinking funds, we can't buy 5 chairs, but maybe we can buy 500 chairs. So, cause that's considered a renovation. So I'd just love to know as we consider those expenses, whether there are things that might be available within the sinking fund budget.
No, absolutely. That's be where our buckets and then what buckets can we purchase with? Absolutely.
And then if we have any enrollment projections or estimates, that would be the other
Yeah.
piece. Thanks.
Now, will the Magnet Grant, will that cover like the IB program?
Yes, the Magnet Grant will cover the training, the
Okay.
professional development. Because Magnet Grant, IB is very expensive.
Yes, okay.
And the nice part about the Magnet Grant is 5 years. So it's again, it's not a 3 years, 5 years. So we can count on it, but not just looking at, okay, is it here tomorrow? We have it for 5 years, we can project out. And so some of these things we know are sustainable once we get it going.
Okay.
Is that a renewable grant as well?
Is it Yes. Okay, I thought it was. I just didn't want to.
One time?
Okay.
So there's 10 years. No.
Got to
we'll,
implement it well.
We'll continue to work through this, have my directions now to start getting those budget numbers and the things that we can report back and start laying that in and that backwards design from a pre-Labor Day start in 25. All right, take care.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
That leads us to number 11, Board Superintendent comments. Board, you have any comments?
Madam Vice President, I do. So I did meet, we had a recent Washtenaw Area School Board Associate or Washtenaw Association of School Board board meeting last week, I believe. I'm behind it. I don't have my clock and my schedule in front of me, but and we have had some shifting. We had a member from Milan resign as a board member. She was the vice president of the board member. So now I'm the vice president of the board member. I was elected. Thank you. And we are going to rethink the youth forum idea, put a little bit more thought in there, just simply because all the districts have a lot going on and we want to be intentional about what this youth forum looks like. Because it started with one idea of bringing students from the district, all of the districts coming together and telling us what they want, what they expect, you know, their thought process about our districts, all of that. But it grew into something else. So we want to pause and rethink that process. But one of the things that we did discuss is how we can engage young people to have more board participation or have a board representative for a student. I know we had it years ago when I'm not gonna say how old I am, but years ago. So that's a conversation. I think some districts may have a student board representative that brings the concerns for the students and acts as their own board liaison position. So that's something we can discuss in meetings, committee meetings. The other thing was we will be rethinking professional development for all of the board members. There should be a survey coming out regarding nominations. So they'll be looking for people to be on a nominating committee for the board members for next year. I believe that meeting is in April. The big meeting that we do online about the budgets and the rollouts, or is it in March? It's either in March or April, but I'll follow up with you all an email in regards to that. We also are talking about revamping the mission statement, because one of the things that I noticed, it did not say equity in there. And that's a very big deal for YCS. So it should be a very big deal on a larger scale. So I'll be leading that committee talking about the mission statement and how we want to revamp those services, because we want to make sure that, you know, the message that's being sent from the WISD and the other school districts, it kind of resembles the same. And let me see, I had an opportunity to go to the WMBK event yesterday. It was very great. We had a lot of students that were YCS students that were there in their new suits and everything. And it was just an awesome event. Dr. Zachary Ross was there as well. I was just very excited. The community really showed up and showed out for that event. Mr. Hill Harper was also the keynote speaker. So it was just a very awesome night. And then this week, we will be going to the Michigan Association School Board Conference. I look forward to presenting with my fellow colleagues on the board and just reminding people who we are. And we are the Ypsilanti Community Schools. And I know I'll leave Dr. Hawkins she got a whole spiel about who we are, but we'll let you know what we do. But I'm excited about what's to come this week. So I will see my fellow board members in Lansing this week. Thank you.
Any other board members? Okay, Dr. Hawkins. I'm sorry.
For Dr. Hawkins, I'll say that, yeah, she is looking forward to
Superintendent.
Also presenting, thank you, Madam Vice President, at the MASB conference, our board was selected to present. They're going to present about equity. And so I'm just loving leading with equity, and they are barrier breakers, risk takers, and history makers. And so I'm just really proud of the work that they do and the way that they lead. And I know that the session is going to be amazing on Saturday. I'm looking forward to presenting with them. Just really, again, thankful and grateful for the Senate, our legislators, all of our legislators working with us. It definitely has been a true journey. Before I came, everyone had been working on it. That was part of the first thing coming was, okay, if we can get rid of this debt, it will be tremendous. And we've seen that every conversation has been around, if the debt wasn't here, what we could do. And I want to first say what we have done in spite of the debt. I just want to thank the community and everyone for the work, because it has not deterred anyone. It hasn't deterred our parents. First of all, our students. Students haven't used that as an excuse. They come to school, they represent in the sports and music and culinary everywhere. They haven't used that as any excuse. Our parents haven't used it as an excuse. Our staff members, and certainly not our board. And so I appreciate and just respect this community so much coming in to see that it could be, we had this debt and what we could not do. And it's been what we can do and what we will do in spite of. And so it certainly gave me just inspiration to work alongside Senator Irwin, Representative Jimmy Wilson, and before that, Representative Peterson was right there alongside. We have had so many supporters. There were people who told me I have done letter writing campaigns. Did you know that? I'm like, oh, thank you. They're like, no, I really have. I sent letters and we made calls. We had people that went to talk to the governor even after we went. I must say, Kirk Prophet, she talked about it. We got into meetings with Kamilari and Senator Wise, and I appreciate them. They gave us meetings, as she said, there'd be meetings and they'd say, get to Lansing. We get to Lansing, and Kirk Prophet would allow us to have his space. And there were so many people that assisted that we could not name them all, and each and every one of you were there too, just calling, making calls, writing people, clarifying, had the talking points. What do you need to do, Mayor Lois Richardson? Do we need to call everyone? Can we do letter writing campaigns? Whatever it was, everyone was tireless. Our president of the union would go with us to meetings, and everybody. And so to be here, I loved that last April, if you can think, it was 7.3 million. We were happy that it was on. We said, oh, it's on the budget. Can you see it? I sent it out to all the staff. And when we started going to Lansing, we went to Damian Butler, myself, Dr. Coscarella, Dr. David Arson, Naomi, and Kirk Prophet went, and we went to the meeting. We said, okay, we had a sheet and we asked for $25 million. And we thought, this is going to be great. We had 25 million. And then that same day we got up to 98 million. We were like, we want $98 million. We had everything written out. We were brazen. We went to DTMB. We were with Senator Wise, Kamilari. We had a whole list of appointments. We came back and we said, we are going to at least have 25 million. We're hoping for 42. And people looked at us like we had lost our mind. We started off 7 million, and to hear 42, people thought you would never get that. Like, I can remember even talking to the administrators, 42 million, they were like, that will not happen. That will not happen. And today we see the $42 million that is there working alongside everybody pushing. It took everybody it was like that last quarter that everybody got into the game and all hands on deck, and everybody, our whole community pushed towards it. And I know if we can do this, this is this 10-year anniversary. This is the way to come into the 10-year anniversary and to show. I know people think it's a hashtag of Stronger Together. It is not a hashtag. This is a movement. This is a way of being. This is how we ought to operate, stronger together every single day. And if we don't have any other evidence that we can accomplish so much more together than alone, this is true evidence of what will happen, what can happen when we put our hearts, our minds, our energy together. And I just want to say thank you for every single person that believed, not just in our words, but believed in our students, our scholars, because this is where it's going to impact. It's going to impact the students of YCS directly, because this money needs to get into our classrooms, into our staff right as soon as when the governor signs it, we're going to be talking to our staff. And I know we have negotiations. We're going to be nice and love each other. Love each other and work together, right? Because we've been doing this together. Last time it went well, we're gonna make it work this well, make it work together this time too. We don't want to fall off a cliff though. Now, mind you, we don't want to get the district in the same situation it was in. We just want to work together because we know it already is a great place to work. We see it. Now we just gotta, if we just make it equitable. Make it a place that people can be and feel like they're valued and respected. They know we say it, but we got to show them too. And so I'm just grateful that we're going to be able to have the opportunity. And so to all of the board members, because I know I was gone, driving up there, doing crazy, just signing up for things, Julie. Say, why are you going to this thing? Why are you buying that ticket to this event? You shouldn't do that. I had to go. So thank you for all of the belief in our students and our staff and the administration and everybody for anything you did. One email, one call, whatever you did. Thank you. We're going to make this work for our students. And that's all I want to say. That was enough.
That being said, thank you. There's no more comments. This meeting